what do you think about having the guide dogs? And what's the having the guide dog like in the airport? What's that experience like?
Uh, it's definitely a lot. It's like having a cane with a couple of extra steps through the airport because one, you have to advocate for yourself saying, hey, I'm a blind person, I'm going to need assistance going through. And since usually I was when I traveled with Norte, I was on vacation with my family. We were going to Disneyland. So to bring a service dog on board, you have to fill out a form from the Department of Transportation, basically saying this is a service dog, here's where he was trained from, here's his vet, he's a guide dog, I'm the owner. He will not bite anyone, he will not pee on the floor, he will not damage any property. He is a real guide dog, and if he does so, I will get fined and I could face jail time because that would mean he's a fraudulent service dog. And after I signed that and be like,
yes, he's a real guide dog, thank you for asking, I'm very proud of you.
We bring that to the airport, and you have to have one for your flight to your location and to your flight back if you're going. So you gotta have one for each. You can't just have one for round trip. Didn't know that. They don't really tell you about that, but life hack. Bring two. Or for however many planes you're taking. I know, crazy, right? So we went through, we checked in, and then we went through security. Basically going through, I can't go through, because they have, the normal metal detector that you can walk through, and then there's one where you have to, like, put your hands up, and then they scan you around. Yeah. That's the one that my home airport prefers, and I think most airports do now. And since I have to have my dog guide me, I can't use that one. So we have to go through one where you walk through, and then they have to do a secondary screening, which is they have to test my hands for gun residue or whatever they're testing for. And so during that time, not only do I have to fight back please don't distract him, he's a service dog, don't distract him. I also they have to ask me, and I have to be very clear, he's a service dog, and they can't tell me to take off his harness, but I can do it a few ways. I can choose myself without them prompting me to take off his harness. I can let them look at the harness. They in that specific thing, they're allowed to look to see if there's anything on him. During the airport, I didn't put any like bandanas on him just so they could like see him in general. He doesn't wear a vest. He just has a harness. There are metal pieces on it in reflection, but it just goes around his chest and then underneath his ribs. And then there's a handle going up to where I grab it since he guides me. And that's how I get all the information from him. I chose not to take it off, but there are a few ways that you can do that. And it was pretty interesting going through security with him just because I was nervous. It was my first time going through. Although they can train you in guide dog training to do that, it's definitely a lot energetically, since the TSA workers are just trying to keep you safe. And then we found our gate. Guide dogs, or I guess service dogs, just do not want to relieve in the pet relief stations because it's fake grass and there's so many smells that it just overwhelms them. Because a friend of mine who also is a service dog handler, her dog refused to relieve in there. So did Norte. And then when they called for pre-boarding, I beat all the ladies in line to get bulkhead. All the old ladies shuffling over to get. There was no one in a wheelchair when I was heading towards there to LA, but I did get some flight attendants who were trying to distract Norte, and I just would inform him he's a service dog, don't distract him, please don't hate crime me today, the usual. And the flight itself was pretty simple, but yeah, I would say the worst part of going through the whole airport experience was people in general who would distract him, because there's not a common knowledge of the inclusion of people with service animals. an off little tangent today. I was out with my friend Megan, who has a medical alert service dog, and this man just went up to her with her dog in harness while she was relieving him, and started petting her dog. And she kept saying, and she's way nicer than I am about advocating, where I'm just like,
he's a service dog, please leave him alone.
She's like, oh, well, I would prefer if you would leave him alone, please, because he's actually a service dog. Please don't pet him. Thank you. Please don't pet him. And I got really upset over that because this grown man just decided to go over and pet this service dog while he's working, wearing a vest that says, service dog, do not distract. So anyway, I just think the worst thing about it is that there's not, it's not taught, that, people with disabilities exist. Here's what it looks like, and here's how to be inclusive. Also, don't distract service dogs, because why would you do that? They have a job that they've been trained for. Just don't go up and randomly pet a dog that you don't know. Crazy.